Hi everybody, it's me, Willow, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm here with another fun video for all of you guys to enjoy. We're going to be discussing a film review for all of you guys. I'm very excited to get into this conversation with all of you guys because I actually have a lot to say about this film. I was lucky enough to go to the advanced screening of the newest Jason Statham action dad flick, which is called Shelter. This is directed by Rick Roman Way, who has done the Greenland movies. So, like, Greenland 2 just came out a couple weeks ago, and now he has Shelter. Very interesting that they're coming up back to back for him. And they also did Angel Has Fallen, and he's done a couple other like action movies, but I think Greenland and Angel Has Fallen are like his biggest and most well-known movies. Of course, Jason Statham is on a 3-year streak of releasing consistent action movies. He had The Beekeeper in 2024, and then last year in 2025, he had A Working Man, and then now here at the beginning of 2026 he has Shelter. Like, he is putting out these movies like not even like like he's doing it in less than a year, because A Working Man came out in March last year, and less than a year. So very incredible how he's able to just produce these things with his teams. I guess this was like a Black Bear production, untitled film that they brought to like the Cannes market, and they were trying to usher it around to different directors, and they had somebody else signed on to this film, and then there was like some sort of issues, and then they had Rick join on to be the director. So a very interesting and fun action film, if I'm being honest. I had a great time. I would be biased because I feel like I am kind of like a Jason Statham girly. I do have a soft spot for his films. I feel like you kind of know what you're getting into when you go and see a Jason Statham film. So I wouldn't say like this is anywhere near like cinema level, but I definitely think there are some fun action moments here in this film. And I just appreciate that Jason Statham is one of those action stars that is out here doing a lot of his own stunts. He's really dedicated to the action craft and keeping, that genre alive. And he's here every single year giving us a new film with a completely different, storyline. And, kind of the premise is always similar. We have Jason's character. He has some sort of profession in this one. He's more of like a nomad, like he's undercover because his whole identity is like all tied up in this MI6 farce. And he's basically gone off the grid, and he is on this island that has this like lighthouse that hasn't worked in years. And there's this man who will come in on his boat and bring Jason supplies like every couple weeks, and he has his niece help him deliver all the supplies to Jason. And the niece is played by Bodhi Ray Brethnak. I believe that's how you pronounce her last name. She is a young and up and coming actress. I definitely think all of you guys need to have your eye on her. She is a big name. Like, I swear, like, I'm just so ready for Bodhi to take over Hollywood, because she was just in Hamnet as like the oldest daughter of Shakespeare's children, and she's kind of like plays that like kind of like lost like ghost child who, or like I can't remember what that phrase is, like the forgotten child in a family, because her siblings, kind of pull focus because there's the fear surrounding them. A glass child. And I really liked her portrayal. I think she has a very intrinsic, unique look to her. So I'm very excited for her future projects, because she's going to be in Georgia Oakley's Sense and Sensibility remake that's coming out later this year. And she's also going to be in Robert Eggers' Werewolf that's coming out at Christmas. So I'm really excited for Bodhi, because she's definitely the emotional levity in this film. She gets a lot of great moments to shine, and she's definitely not like some girl in distress. Like she has those moments where she needs Jason to come and save her because she is like a 12, 13-year-old girl, but she stands her own. And I feel like even at the very beginning of the film, we have a moment with her trying to confront Jason's character, and she tells him, I'm not scared of you. And I think from that moment, you're really like striked by Bodhi's presence in this film and what she's willing to do as Jessie. And she does kind of endure a lot of great trauma at the beginning of the film, and she's taken under the wing of Jason's character. So I'm very interested to see where Bodhi's career bounces off after this film. The two of them kind of have a father-daughter relationship, and I just think that's perfect because I used to, watch these Jason Statham films with my dad, and now I go and watch them with like my stepdad at the theater, and I definitely think I'm going to have to take my stepdad to go and see this one just because it's so wild and crazy but like heartfelt at the same time, because there's that connection. I feel like in A Working Man there was a little bit of the connection, but the daughter that kind of goes missing, the damsel in distress character, she's not really in the film for a good portion of the first half, and then she kind of like, holds her own near the end in like the big climax of the film. Whereas this one, we have her throughout the entire thing. She endures this big trauma, and then she just has to full heartedly trust Jason's character, Mason, who like she just sees as this scary, creepy, like very, reserved, mysterious man who lives on this island and who her uncle and her deliver supplies to, and he's not breaking any of his walls down, and she's injured and there's nowhere to go and she has no other family, and it's a very interesting dynamic. And you definitely get to see Mason's walls kind of soften as Jesse, warms him up and realizes that he doesn't necessarily have to be so off the grid that he can't trust anybody. So I really do like that little dynamic between them. I don't think it gets as serious or as streamlined as like The Beekeeper. I remember really enjoying The Beekeeper. I felt like it was very well thought out. I thought the writing was pretty strong. Definitely not like the best film out there, but for a Jason Statham film, for kind of a generic action film, I do think The Beekeeper had a lot of good intentions, and I thought the whole storyline of the scamming the elders was really great and trying to get that justice, that like heart also in there. And you have glimpses of that in this film, but then there's moments where you just are left with a lot of slowness and a lot of up close shots of either Jason or Bodhi in a car looking longingly out the window, and it gets to be very slow paced, and you're like, can we get back to the action please? That's definitely a standout for this film, is the action. I think there's a lot of creative and unique like stunts used in this film. Definitely one to highlight is on the beach. It's kind of like this booby trap that's set out for these military ops that invade like the lighthouse island, and Mason sets off all these booby traps. He like goes Indiana Jones and like puts a boulder down the cliff to like knock out the military ops. Then he has this like little like, I don't even know what you call it, like net that's like hidden underneath the sand, and it like has a contraption that pulls the military op that gets caught in it out to sea. And then he like blinds them all with the headlights because they all have night goggle visions on. I think that was a really great scene. And then we get a really interesting use of kind of like a steel chain being like whipped around, and then it gets like wrapped around like a steel pipe, and really interesting use of a weapon. Really love that scene. There's also this incredible car chase sequence, so good. You're just going back and forth between these two cars. One's a cop car, one's like just a regular car, and they're like bumping into one another. I'm thinking in my head, zigzag, zigzag in between the trees, and they're crashing through fences, and they're sliding in the mud, they're hitting the brakes. It's so well choreographed. Like, one of the best car chase sequences I've seen in a hot minute. I really loved that scene. Honestly, all of the action in this film is very well choreographed. It's You can see it very well, and despite my like not love for the handheld and the up close shots, it does give you like a great look at the action, and you are really like in it. You're staying like CCTV footage, like surveillance, and I think that's really interesting with the use of like the action scenes as well, kind of builds the suspense. I also would love to give a nod to David Buckley, who is the musician, did the score, composer, really great. Like, I thought the tension with the music was built up very well, and there was a couple different songs that I really enjoyed, and I'm going to look up the score once they release it. There's also kind of like a club scene, and whenever there's a club scene, like, I'm hooked. Like, I need to find the songs. So I'll definitely be looking up the score from David Buckley because I would love to hear the rest of his score. It just really brought like the thriller aspect, and you know bring some more emotion to the certain scenes. So definitely a fan of the music. I also thought that the film was interesting, that it kind of took on a cinematic approach. More in the beginning of the film, when we're on the island, we get some cool like landscape scenic shots of the Scottish Isles that Mason's character is kind of hiding away on. Very interesting. I don't think they're like the best shots because they are pretty dark, but I do think they're pretty, and I did take note of them for like an action film. I also thought there was like two very interesting time lapse, and I thought that was pretty cinematic. And like I said, I thought the CCTV footage kind of integrated throughout was interesting and kind of had a cinematic element to it as well. However, I do have criticisms about like the cinematography, and more over just how dark and dingy the film looks. Like, it's just so annoying that action films do not turn up the saturation. They don't go in with the color grading in the post. It's such a pet peeve because I feel like in those cinematic shots with like the sunset, I really should be looking at these beautiful sunsets. And even like Bodhi's pants are like orange, like this rust orange, and they're just so dingy. It's very frustrating. I There was like a couple scenes too where I felt like there was like a shadow on Jason's face in these action scenes, so that was getting on my nerves, just that we had this dingy filter on with no saturation. Just bothers me that all of these films kind of look like they're just filmed on kind of like a New York cityscape, and nothing has been altered. So, yeah, that's just frustrating when we had such beautiful Scottish scenery, and yeah, a little disappointing that we can't, when we're trying to do some cinematic stuff with the cinematography, try and elevate the action film, make it feel a little bit more ambiance-y, and then it's like dull and dingy. It's just such a pet peeve of mine when things aren't lit or color graded correctly. So, pet peeve of mine. Also, I would like to give a warning for people. Spoiler warning. There is a dog in this film, and I had a strong feeling that the dog was not going to make it, and it doesn't. It is killed by one of the military ops during the beach invasion scenes, and it's brutal. The girl beside me was also very shook by the scene, and just anything with animal cruelty, animal death, it's too much for me. I can't do it. I can watch all these people be murdered left, right, and center in all these unique ways, but when it comes to a dog or any other animal, crosses the line for me. So it lost a full star in my Letterboxd review, if I'm being honest. I would have given it a 3.5 star, but it took away a whole star because this poor dog was shot twice in the film. So at least it wasn't like stabbed or like, in pain or something. At least I guess it was like quick and done and over with, but just such an unnecessary death. We didn't need to have this dog die. We could have brought it with us and could have been, the like emotional therapy dog for the friend that had cancer. So I just, yeah, it was like we didn't know what to do with the dog, so let's just kill the dog and make Mason sad because his only type of family was killed. So yeah, I was very upset about that scene. Another negative was just kind of the lack of like direction the film had. Like it was just taking a really long time to reveal things, and I was thinking, like, at the halfway point I was like, this girl seems really important, like Jessie. Like, why is she, there's so much mystery surrounding Mason, but there's also so much mystery surrounding Bodhi's character, because it's kind of implied that she doesn't know her father and her mother died and she has no other family. And then the MI6 and Bill Nye's character is very interested in this girl and how much weight and like pull she has towards Mason's character. So I thought she was like going to be some like secret agent's daughter or whatever. Nope, nothing of that sort. She's just like a regular girl that just so happened to kind of become like a surrogate daughter to Jason's character. So I felt like that direction was kind of misleading. Um, I also just felt like whenever the action ended, it would kind of take a dip in like the tension, but also the pacing, and things would just slow down to like a halt, and I'd be itching for the next action scene, the next enticing moment for us to flip back, because we often would just be kind of like sulking, looking out the window, like I mentioned earlier. So yeah, just a little upsetting that kind of the pacing kind of goes back and forth. So definitely a middle of the road Jason Statham movie, but kind of on the more positive end of his films. I definitely don't think this is a bad film. It's a fun one. I definitely would highlight this more of a fun film over like a good film. Like like I said, you know what you're getting into with these dad Jason Statham films. So, as long as you have like your popcorn and you're ready for a good hour 40-minute film with a lot of fun action. And I would like to also highlight that the most of the ensemble cast are all like stunt and martial artists. So I thought that was also great that these guys are getting some moments to shine. Like the one hitman that goes after Jason and Bodhi for basically the entire film. Like he's a very big stuntman, I believe, and he's been in a lot of films. It's kind of like, the muscle, and also the character that we meet up in the club, who's kind of like the trafficker that's going to get them their passports, help them smuggle them out of the country. He's also like a very big martial artist from Hong Kong. So I thought it was interesting that Jason, who is so into like doing his own stunts and is really trying to keep the action genre alive, along with, some other notable names like Tom Cruise. Like, I feel like we don't nearly enough talk about Jason Statham, kind of in the same line as Tom Cruise, who is obviously trying to elevate and highlight other stuntsmen and martial artists in the biz. So, very interesting. I like to note that. So, yeah, overall, I had a fun time. I'm very grateful that Elevation Pictures was able to host this screening for us in Toronto. One of my goals for 2026 is to get more into film, more into a content creator as like film being like my media, you know? So I'm very grateful that I'm able to attend these advanced screenings and I'm able to make this content or review it and like put out the content for all of you guys to enjoy. So thank you guys for also supporting my channel, because supporting me helps me to get invited to more of these opportunities. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and the post notification button so you don't miss out on any of my content going forward. I have a lot more videos to be coming out. We're in the thick of award season. Go check out my last video, which is my BAFTA nomination reaction video. Can't believe we are past the BAFTAs. We're almost at the SAG Awards. We're almost at the Oscars, guys. It's getting so much closer. We're less than 2 months away. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and post notification button so you don't miss out on any content. And also all the film reviews. I have lots of more film reviews that are going to be coming out. I'm going to be seeing The Moment in like a week or so when it comes out here in Canada. So I'll definitely be doing a film review for that. So make sure you're here following my content. I'm also on all the other social media platforms. I'm on Letterboxd, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on the Awards Expert app, all at Willow D Steele to make it easy for you guys to find. So give me love and support over on my other social media pages, and make sure you give this video a like if you enjoyed my review. Comment down below your favorite Jason Statham movie, and if you're planning on seeing Shelter this weekend at your local cinema, let me know. Let's have a conversation down below. Thank you guys so much for your engagement, as it really helps to push me out into the algorithm and help me meet other like-minded people in the cinema community, and helps to grow my channel here. So thank you guys so much for your support. I can't wait to see you guys in my next video, but until then, keep getting lost in cinema, guys. Bye.